Taylor Frankie Paul is once again at the center of a storm that has taken over social media, headlines, and public conversation. And this time, it's not just drama, it's something far more serious, intense, and deeply unsettling. A fight video involving Taylor and her ex-boyfriend Dakota Mortensen has surfaced, and what it shows has left viewers shocked, divided, and demanding answers. The footage, which only recently went viral despite being tied to an incident from 2023, captures a chaotic and emotional confrontation inside a home. What begins as a tense argument quickly escalates into something much more alarming. In the video, Taylor is seen grabbing metal bar stools and throwing them across the room in a burst of anger. The sound of objects crashing, voices rising, and tension building creates an atmosphere that feels completely out of control, like a situation that crossed the line from argument into something dangerous in a matter of seconds. And what makes the footage even more intense is not just what you see, but what you hear. The raw emotion, the urgency, the unpredictability of what might happen next. It's not a clean, edited clip. It feels messy, real, and uncomfortable to watch, which is exactly why it has gripped so many people online. Dakota Mortensen, who is filming during parts of the altercation, can be heard repeatedly calling out what he describes as abuse. His voice is urgent, emotional, and strained as he tries to document what's happening in real time. There's a sense that he wants proof of the moment, as if he already understands that what's unfolding could have serious consequences, legally, personally, and publicly. But the most disturbing part, the moment that has sparked the strongest reaction from viewers, is when a child is heard crying in the background. That single detail changes everything, because suddenly this isn't just about two adults in a volatile situation. It becomes about environment, safety, and the impact of these moments on someone who has no control over what's happening around them. In one of the most talked about moments from the video, Dakota shouts that Taylor's daughter has been hit in the head by a metal chair. Whether viewers believe every detail of that claim or not, the emotional impact of hearing those words has been massive. It's the moment that has stayed with people long after the video ends, replaying in their minds and fueling ongoing discussions. And this is where the situation shifts from shocking to deeply concerning, because even the possibility that a child could have been hurt during this altercation raises serious questions. Questions about judgment, about control, about what was happening in that room in the seconds leading up to that moment. As the video spread across platforms, reactions came pouring in almost instantly. Social media feeds were flooded with clips, commentary, breakdowns, and emotional responses. Some viewers expressed pure shock, saying they had never expected things to escalate to that level. Others reacted with anger, calling the behavior unacceptable and demanding accountability. Many people focused specifically on the child, expressing heartbreak and concern. Comments poured in from viewers saying that no matter what was happening between the adults, the presence of a child made the situation far more serious. At the same time, there were also voices urging people to slow down and think more critically. Some pointed out that viral videos often lack context, that what you see is only a fragment of a larger story. They argued that relationships can be complicated, that conflicts can escalate in ways that don't represent the entire dynamic, and that it's dangerous to form complete judgments based on partial information. This divide in public opinion has only made the situation more intense. On one side, there's a strong push for accountability, with people emphasizing that certain actions, especially those involving potential harm, cannot be ignored. On the other side, there's a call for understanding, for waiting until all facts are known, and for recognizing that real-life situations are rarely as simple as they appear in short clips. But to really understand why this situation has exploded the way it has, you have to look deeper into Taylor Frankie Paul's story, because this isn't the first time she has been at the center of controversy.
Taylor rose to fame through TikTok, becoming a recognizable face in the Mom Talk community, a group of content creators sharing their lives as young mothers. Her content stood out because it felt both relatable and slightly unconventional. She wasn't just showing perfect moments, she was sharing parts of her life that felt raw, emotional, and sometimes unpredictable. That authenticity is what drew people in, but it's also what made her life so visible when things started to fall apart. In 2022, Taylor made headlines after revealing details about her involvement in a soft, swinging lifestyle within her social circle. The revelation spread quickly, sparking conversations, debates, and intense curiosity. It wasn't something people expected to hear so openly, and it immediately set her apart from other influencers. That moment changed everything. It led to the breakdown of her marriage and opened the door to a new phase of her life, one that was far more public, far more scrutinized, and far more complicated. From that point on, Taylor's personal life became a topic of ongoing interest. Every relationship, every decision, every emotional moment became something that people watched, discussed, and analyzed. Her relationship with Dakota Mortensen became part of that narrative. At first, it seemed like a fresh start, a new chapter after a difficult period. There were moments of happiness, connection, and rebuilding. But over time, there were also signs that things weren't entirely stable. Subtle clues began to appear: emotional posts, shifts in tone, moments that hinted at tension beneath the surface. For followers who were paying close attention, it became clear that this relationship might be more complicated than it appeared. And then came the incident in 2023. At the time, reports of a domestic dispute surfaced, and Taylor's arrest brought serious attention to the situation. The allegations were significant, involving claims of physical confrontation and concerns about a child being present. It was a turning point. Taylor later entered into a legal agreement that allowed her to avoid immediate severe consequences as long as she met certain conditions over time. For a while, it seemed like she was moving forward, working on herself, rebuilding her image, and trying to leave that chapter behind. But now, with this video resurfacing, that chapter has been reopened in a way that feels even more intense than before. Because now, people aren't just hearing about what happened, they're seeing it, and that visual element changes everything. The footage has made the situation feel immediate, real, and impossible to ignore. It has added emotion to facts, sound to headlines, and tension to a story that was already serious. The impact on Taylor's career has been significant and continues to unfold. In the world of social media and entertainment, public perception can shift quickly, and once it does, the effects can be hard to reverse. Opportunities that once seemed stable are now uncertain. Collaborations, partnerships, and projects are being re-evaluated as the situation develops. There's a level of unpredictability that comes with this kind of controversy, because it's not just about what happened, it's about how people feel about what happened, and right now, those feelings are strong. At the same time, the legal side of this situation is still evolving. Investigations take time, especially when there are conflicting accounts and emotional complexities involved. Authorities are working to understand the full picture: what led up to the altercation, what exactly happened during those moments, and what responsibilities each person holds. The presence of a child adds a layer of seriousness that cannot be overlooked.
Dakota Mortensen has spoken about his concerns, emphasizing safety and well-being. His perspective reflects a sense of urgency and fear, suggesting that the situation was not just intense, but potentially dangerous. Taylor, on the other hand, has described the situation as deeply painful and emotionally overwhelming. She has suggested that the video does not capture the full context and that there are aspects of the situation that people are not seeing. This contrast in perspectives is what makes the situation so complex. Because both things can exist at the same time: a moment that looks alarming on video and a deeper story that hasn't been fully revealed. And that's what keeps people watching, analyzing, and debating.
Public reaction continues to evolve with every passing day. Some people are focusing on accountability, saying that actions have consequences and that certain lines should never be crossed. Others are focusing on understanding, emphasizing the importance of context and the danger of making quick judgments. There's also a growing conversation about the role of social media itself. Because when moments like this become public, they don't just stay as moments, they become narratives. They get shared, dissected, and turned into discussions that can reach millions of people within hours. And in that process, the human side of the story can sometimes get lost. For Taylor Frankie Paul, this moment represents a critical turning point. The decisions she makes moving forward, how she addresses the situation, how she responds to public reaction, and how she navigates the legal process will all shape what happens next. For Dakota Mortensen, this situation is equally significant. His decision to document the incident, to speak out, and to take action reflects a desire for safety and accountability, but it also places him in a position where he becomes part of a very public and very intense story. And for the audience, this is one of those moments that feels difficult to look away from because it's not just about curiosity, it's about trying to understand something that feels complicated, emotional, and at times unsettling. This isn't just a viral clip, it's a story about people, relationships, pressure, mistakes, and consequences. It's a reminder that what we see online is often just one piece of a much larger puzzle, and as more information continues to come out, one thing is certain: this story is still unfolding. The investigation is ongoing, the conversations are continuing, and the impact of this moment is still being felt across social media, entertainment, and public discourse. Because stories like this don't simply disappear, they evolve, they develop, and sometimes they reveal even more than we expected. And right now, all eyes remain on what happens next. Make sure to like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more celebrity updates just like this.